...2026 kicked off with the epic 7-part Pendragon cycle, Rise of the Merlin, and as we wait for the release of DailyWire's next major tentpole Run, Hide, Fight, Infidels, we are going to debate which TV series are actually worth watching to pass the time and which ones are just more progressive Hollywood slop. The best part is that you, the audience, get to vote in real time in the DailyWire Plus chat to choose the winner. And if you want to join, you'll need to subscribe, just like during our Odyssey movie episode where... If you see, Georgia just ran away with it, but we'll see what happens in this next one. Before we reveal which series we picked, and I promise the third one may actually surprise you, I want to get to who's going to be battling out today. And first, we do have our former champion, Georgia Howe, host of Morning Wire and future voice actress. How's it going?
Hey, great. Love to see that I won before.
Which microphone are you going with here?
I'm committing to this.
Okay, all right.
Wait, seriously? Oh, because Olivia's going to join us.
Yeah, we may have a special guest coming in who also won, who almost won last week. We also have John Bickley, writer, producer, co-host of Morning Wire.
I'm back.
He's back and better than ever.
And I think
some people
did I
thought
win last
won.
time?
Yeah.
You did win the last one.
I think I did.
Spider-Man, Brand New Day.
I call for a recount.
I'm humbled by it. Thank you, guys. Can't wait to win this week.
You got a good shot because I know exactly which one you picked. We also have Nick back on the couch, writer.
Hey, I'm here. I'm glad to be with you, Mr. Ben Davies. I also really liked Pendragon Rise of the Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin is...
Merlin. We were clowning Ben before the show because apparently he doesn't know how to pronounce words.
No, I'm not going to let you get in my head before I throw down on my series, but you're right. I keep saying the Merlin.
Come on, let's continue with the rest of the show.
I also completely botched the top because I thought we were going to have like the stinger play, and I just like jumped into it and then messed up the prompter. But I'm not going to let that throw me off because my series is awesome. I'm Ben Davies, actor, writer, executive producer of The Michael Knowles Show, and I will moderate and contribute here tonight. We may also be joined by animation artist Olivia Armstrong, and she'll be coming in later. But first, since I want to get to one of the champions first and let you have the first round here. Georgia Howe, there's a lot of good shows out there, but what series should our audience watch while we all wait for?
And we should say these are shows that have come out, either had new seasons or launched in 2026.
Correct.
These are these shows to check out.
There's a lot of garbage, but there is some good ones. So what do we got?
Okay, so the show that I think that you should watch is Widow's Bay on Apple TV. And it's pretty buzzy, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. But it's basically, it feels like a miniseries, but I do think they're setting it up for a second season. It's a kind of campy creature feature. It's a scary show, but it has some elements of humor to it. It hits the notes that I think a lot of scary movie lovers like. So it definitely has like an eerie feeling. It's extremely atmospheric. It's set on a fictional Massachusetts island that it's sort of a running joke that they think they could be Martha's Vineyard if people could just stop dying. There's a curse that's on this island. And what makes it really great is it kind of has a lot of elements from different parts of the horror genre. So I don't want to give away too much, but there's not just one like central fright. There are different allusions to different scary movies, famous scary movies throughout, tons of Easter eggs. If you love this genre, you will be absolutely delighted by the Easter eggs in this series. But it does have a coherent story that it's trying to pull through, but it definitely goes in a few different directions at different points in a way that I think is really entertaining. It's not gross or too heavy or, I mean, let's just say I enjoyed American Horror Story season 1, but I would say that series goes too dark. You don't have this problem in this series. It's the exact sort of right level of scary, the right level of gore, which is not too much.
Is it like Stranger Things level?
Yeah, I would say it's scarier than Stranger Things, but it has elements that remind me of Stranger Things.
Like that font.
Yeah, the font for starters, yeah.
You can't help but think of it.
Yeah, and it also has, I mean, it's not an ensemble cast in the same way, but it has these quirky characters. The acting is great. The lead is Matthew Rice. There is sort of like this subplot of like teenagers, and it kind of plays into the trope of like a car full of teens experiencing something scary. Yeah.
Even that poster kind of felt like Stranger Things a little bit. Is this one in particular like a straight horror, or is it also a mystery to it?
There's a mystery to it, but it definitely is horror forward. It's not just like a human that's causing all the scary things. There is something supernatural that's going on. But without giving away too much, there are multiple scary threads that you encounter throughout the season. But by the end, you kind of start to learn that it is congealing around this central curse and that they are all related to that.
It's a strong pitch. I'm not going to lie.
It's really fun. If you like scary, I think it hits all of the notes.
It makes sense why you also won the very first, one of the movie fights. Also, one of our champions, I want to get to a comment from last week from the following Potter. John wins, hands down, no contest.
Boom.
Boom, roasted. So why is your series better than Georgia's? Or just give us your pitch first.
I'm intrigued by that series. I watched part of the first episode, and I got to admit, I was kind of like, I think I'm going to like this. I don't have the time for it yet. My series, underrated, man. This came out, the original season, 2024. It's an Apple TV series. I'm kind of a sucker for Apple TV series in general. They're mostly good. Most of them are like worth a shot. Some of them get heavy on the left-wing messaging. This came out in 2024, super low-key. Most people didn't hear much about it. The new season came out this year. So this is my rationale for saying, I put this in for this year because there's a new season. This really surprised me. I got to say this. There is actually the central premise of one of the central premises of this series is an actual marketing problem. You can't market this series because it's a giant spoiler. And so I can actually not say some things about this series because it's a massive spoiler, but I can say a bunch of stuff. So it's a neo-noir. You can see it in some of the images. They're seeing all this, right?
Yeah.
It's a neo-noir. Colin Farrell. I don't even like Colin Farrell in most things. He's great in this.
He's one of my favorites, so that's why I knew
Is he?
It'd be good. Yeah.
So he gets, as you understand his character, which takes almost the entire season to understand what actually motivates his character, why he's different, all these things. As you understand it, you realize how well he played this role. He's great. So it's neo-noir. It's also something that I wouldn't think necessarily that I would like right now, which is nostalgic for the old LA. I felt like I was kind of over that until I watched this series. It does it perfect because there's actually like a clashing concept at the heart of this series, which is this guy is lost in the old LA. He wants to be living the life of the old LA. And he kind of looks out at the world as if he's still in the 1950s LA. But what you're witnessing as you watch it is 2026 LA, and it's a freaking disaster. So it's actually grimy and gross, but his little life that he's created is beautiful and stylistic and classy and actually earnest and good. So what I also like about this, I'm always worried with Apple series, is this going to go super lefty? Is the core character going to end up being somebody I cannot identify with or I don't want to root for, which happens sometimes?
It's the problem. It's so many series.
It's
brutal. Yeah.
You'll be like, dude, I love this series. I hate the lead character or whatever.
Yep.
I love Sugar as a character. Love him. I want to know him. This is getting weird now, guy. But no, wait.
I can jump right in. So anyway,
that's it. That's my first initial pitch. I can say more. Yeah. I know we're limited for time, though.
Yeah, I want to get into it too. I like the two kind of dark, gritty ones to kick it off. And Colin Farrell is terrific. So actually with both y'all's series, I've not seen them yet. And after watching y'all's trailers, I am very interested.
I saw the pilot of that. It's quite good.
But mine's going to be better. But before we get to that, comment from last week, Fish Cam Fam, I feel like the Rat Trapper won. So maybe
he always wins in the end.
Maybe you'll get them back on your side, Nick. What do you got?
What do I got? John, can you help me set the mood here? Just a little. My show is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yes. The third installment in the Game of Thrones sphere of TV shows. So this one came out this year. It is, I should say first off, it is, so we had the Game of Thrones, obviously the series, that was huge. And then a couple years ago, they launched House of the Dragon, which is also great. And now this year they have come out with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which tells a smaller story. It's based on a novella or a series of novellas that George R.R. Martin wrote back in the 90s, I think. It's very different from either of the other Game of Thrones world shows.
Yeah.
So the episodes are shorter. They're like maybe 30, 35-minute episodes. This is not a spoiler or anything, but one thing that I didn't realize at first that threw me off for a minute, but then once I realized it, I loved it, is that, the other Game of Thrones show, they're these big sweeping epics that are going to dozens of locations and following, a bunch of different characters. This show, almost all of it, is basically in one general location following essentially this one character who is, if you see in the trailer here, it's this character, Sir Duncan the Tall, who was actually a character that's mentioned in the Game of Thrones series, but this series is set maybe 70, 80 years, something like that, maybe 90 years before the Game of Thrones series. One thing that's very interesting about it too is the other series in this universe, they're set in these big times of like war and conflict and these big, kingdom-wide or worldwide conflicts. This one is set in a time of sort of relative peace in the kingdom, and it's more about these personal conflicts. It's like these smaller things. And there's a lot I could say, but I don't want to take up too much time. But I think it's much more of a character story. Yeah. You're following this guy who's trying to prove himself in a world where obviously the Game of Thrones world is, becoming a knight, becoming a lord or whatever. It's not a very meritocratic world. A lot of these people are born into their positions. It's about a kid who basically comes from nothing and is trying to prove himself. And so a lot of the lords and stuff, the people in this world, they have a lot of buzzword. They have a lot of privilege, you know what I mean? But a knight is also supposed to have all these responsibilities. And a lot of the people in this world have indulged in their privileges, but have completely abandoned their responsibilities. And they sort of get their world rocked when this guy comes in and is really trying to prove himself and really trying to live up to what a knight is supposed to be. And there are some great moments in this show. It's also kind of a tonal departure from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So
it kind of harkens back to what we talked about with Spider-Man, where instead of these big, the universe, multiverse is going to end, it was kind of a more personal story, which a lot of people like now. So I can
that's
see
what
why
this is. It's a much more personal story.
It feels actually, we talked about Pendragon. It does feel like scope-wise, this is more akin to it. It feels like, in terms of continuity, once you get Merlin on the scene.
Merlin.
Anyway, but there's what you're saying about the meritocracy, that's really good. One of the things, I'm watching House of the Dragon or House of Dragon, and it's good. But like Game of Thrones, if you're trying to find a moral thread, it defies you all the time. It's kind of nihilistic. Mm-hmm. This one has a moral thread.
Yeah.
It is like you feel like this guy is good, and he's working towards something. He's earned something. He deserves it. And maybe there's actually going to be payoff for once instead of him just getting killed, like everything else in Game of Thrones.
It is good.
Georgia, you had
just
like
so one of the things that was a little bit challenging for me with Game of Thrones, and I watched every episode. I would say I enjoyed it. I would call myself a fan, but particularly, I would say season 2 was the most guilty of this, but later with like Joffrey and that other horrible prince who I can't recall the name of, there was this problem as well. Like the gratuitous scenes, either sexual or violent, that were so beyond what was necessary.
Well, so there is brief nudity in this one, but it plays for comedy. There's very little sexual stuff in Night that I can remember.
But you know what I'm talking about with Game of Thrones? It was just like...
Yeah, it is nice they dialed it back, because that was one of the main things people commented on with Pendragon Cycle 2. They were like, is it going to be dialed back from Game of Thrones? Obviously it was. A lot of people are so tired of kind of the over-the-top gratuitous stuff. And I think a lot of people want to return to some, happy, nostalgic stuff too, which involves my series, before we completely dive into Game of Thrones.
Let's get to yours,
And hopefully my guy Knowles Knows Not also likes it. Again, Davies nails it. Hollywood acts like every male role has to be a hopeless sitcom dad who desperately needs the female protagonist to avoid failure. Absolutely. I like a return back to the way things were, the way things worked. And those are all great series, but the series that our audience should watch is obviously X-Men 1997. Here's why. Because it's pure nostalgia without the woke slop. It is fantastic. Because I know I've been hurt by Hollywood. I know all of you have, everyone watching. You know, you're like, man, I really wish.
Show us on the doll. Where
I wish they would just make a series or a movie like they used to. You know, why can't they just give me what I grew up with, like what I remember, maybe back in the 90s, maybe specifically 1997. Well, they actually do that. And it's great because it is not woke, because that happens all the time where they entice you.
Revisionist history, and then they insert stuff that wouldn't have been there, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, and they take what you like and they use that to, they just like pervert that and make you go watch it. So it's like Star Wars. Hey, remember how cool Star Wars was? Remember Lord of the Rings? Remember Power Rangers? Remember all this stuff? And then South Park actually does nail it because it's so true. Like, hey, why don't we just put a chick in it and make it gay? Just like the Avatar Last Airbender. Like every single show does that. And this story doesn't at all. And the way they were able to pull that off is they didn't recreate anything. They actually continue the story that everyone tuned in for. That was the #1 show on Saturday mornings for like 5 years. They start exactly where it left off, which no other series has been able to do that. I couldn't even believe it where I watched it. So that was awesome. And it's like, they don't have to change the characters that way. They don't have to recast it. Like the same themes and the things that the characters did are continued, like in the original series where you actually have Nightcrawler giving Wolverine a Bible, quoting scripture to him and leading him to a church to turn his life around. Like that actually happened on TV. And those kind of themes continue in this one. They don't have to redo it. Remember Jean Grey and Cyclops getting married in a church, 2 straight white people getting married, going on a honeymoon? Like that actually can still happen again. And because they just continue the series, they don't have to recast like Logan as Ellen Page or something. Like none of the characters are swapped, no race changes. I was going to mention to Olivia if she was here, everyone's still a redhead, which never happens anymore.
Never happens.
Like Ariel gone, you know, all these characters, they just completely changed. It's the exact same as how it was, which is so rare, which is why I think it works. Like the conflict is still there. The stories are great. And it actually gives you, it's the nostalgia like plus, because now it's just building on it. And it was absolutely extraordinary. And there's a reason why it's the #1 streaming show on the entire Disney Plus platform. It's not woke. It's not, and it's not just pure slop either, where, you know, like the big criticisms of Doomsday is we're just, all these characters you like, here we're going to throw in all these new, like change even the actors who are playing them, and we're going to have these side characters that no one watched, but because it's Iron Man or because it's Captain America and Thor, you're also going to watch these side characters that no one hated. It's not that. It's all your favorite ones, your characters, the way they were drawn, the way they acted, continuing. And that is awesome.
What you're describing, I've watched the first season with one of my daughters and totally loved it. It's humility. So that's actually like the filmmakers are humbling themselves to what the content actually was. We're actually staying true to it. We're trying to just continue on something that was already great. We don't have to revise it and make it something different to make it great. Humility in filmmaking. This is that whole thing of like, can you respect the source material at all? You know, and like the Odyssey, no. And you can make some arguments for saying, well, you know, we want some things that are new. 100%, I get it. But man, some core things have to be respected. That takes some humility. Most of these filmmakers don't have it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does Gambit have a ridiculous Cajun accent in the show?
He does. He has a ridiculous.
Yeah. All right,
all
then
the
I'm
accents
in.
are crazy.
Yes.
You should, like Rogues is completely over the top. Everyone's exactly how you remember it. But the reason those stories worked, which actually was the launch of the entire Marvel universe, was Bryan Singer's 1999 X-Men, where they grounded it. It was these characters that ended in 1995. They just continued it in those. And so,
and Bryan Singer is a stand-up guy. I'm going to go on record and say that right now. I love everything Bryan Singer does.
Ours both are kind of spinoffs of source materials. But I think why would someone watch your show over like House of the Dragon or go rewatching the ones that are the highest rated of all time, which is the original Game of Thrones?
Because my show's for adults. And so they can watch this show instead of that X-Men show. Like if you have children and you want to, or if you have the mind of a child like Ben, you can go watch X-Men 97.
It's so good.
The Game of Thrones, I mean, I would say this one reason that you should watch this one, because it goes down like butter. It's a little bit more, John, do you agree with this, that Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's like a little bit more contemplative, a little bit more slow paced, but the episodes are short. So you could watch the whole series probably in one night. It's maybe 3.5 hours total.
Yeah, I love that. In general, I was looking actually at Sugar, to bring this back to my series. I was looking at Sugar's run length for episodes, and it's very variable. And I am starting to love that concept.
Yeah,
where
me too.
You might have a 34-minute episode or a 49-minute episode, and the feeling is that what it conveys to you as a viewer is like, we're going to tell the story in as complete a way for this particular episode as it needs to be told. We're not going to there's not going to be filler. We're not going to sit there wasting time, which a lot of these series ends up being like, this is fluff. You had to fill it because you knew you had a contract for 10 episodes or whatever.
Like 1 hour or something, yeah.
I love when you see that. When you see variation on episode length, that's actually a sign to me that they're probably, hopefully, they're actually
Like
thinking in
crisp
terms of
editing.
actually good, crisp editing, and they're actually thinking about the necessities of the storytelling, not the contracts.
We do have a question from the audience that I'll get to in a moment about Game of Thrones, but I want to piggyback off y'all's because I think y'all's is kind of similar, like the tone. When I saw the trailers, like this does look fascinating. I like the mystery, the intrigue, but like they're both similar, like noir kind of mystery things.
So
Why is yours
mine
better
is
than
not-
John's?
So John's is pure noir. Widow's Bay actually has a lot of levity to it. So it is very dark in atmosphere. It's sort of inspired by Stephen King. There's even Stephen King references in there, although it's not actually a Stephen King. But which is good. But if you kind of understand that like Stephen King genre where you have this really quaint New England town and everything is almost like perfect, and yet there's this horrifying specter present there. It brings that energy in. And think about like Derry, Maine, where I think that's where it was. You might know this.
That's like, I think a lot of.
So it's sort of this juxtaposition of like a beautiful, idyllic, small town place that almost has this like element of nostalgia, also paired with like the horror of like the kind of hauntings that you can find in a town like that. But also there's this low level comedy that kind of goes throughout where you can enjoy the characters and you have these sort of moments of fun, and then you'll have real frights. Like it's not like a dialed back horror. There are definitely some very scary scenes.
I watched a little bit of it,
Yeah.
and it looks like there's some definite
It's like-
horror. And the fish out of water with the Marys, like obviously out of place in that town. Like I could see how this would all play pretty well, which is why I think my wife will actually love the series, even though I hope everyone votes for my show because it's better.
It's extremely, I would say it's an extremely fun yet still for adult show. And it can be as lowbrow as you want. If you want to just go in and just watch like a creature feature, you can totally have fun with that. But also you can go real deep with it, like keeping your eye out for the different Easter eggs. I think I saw online there's 63 Easter eggs that are pointing to different iconic horror movies throughout the series. So if you can go in and just like zone out and have a fun time,
I bet Matt Fradd would
or
love
you
that,
can
but-
go in and you can like study it like a film student. So it's just it fires on all cylinders.
You have me at Colin Farrell though, so I still like yours better
Thank you.
personally.
Good.
But I do have DW Christie.
Georgia
What's the
wasn't so good at this.
DW Christie? What's the question for Nick about the Game of Thrones?
Yeah, hey. Well, Nick already started to address it about the concerns about nudity, but the chat in general is just concerned that Game of Thrones had so much gratuitous sex and violence. They want to know what kind of level are we getting?
Why would the
here?
Daily Wire audience want to watch that horrible gratuitous slop, Nick? Okay.
Yeah, why would they? So there is not very much. This show compared to the rest of Game of Thrones, I would say, is relatively low on the gratuitous violence. There is basically one episode where there is quite a bit of violence, but it's all vital to the plot. It tells like really important things about the plot, and it's not crazy. I mean, it gets a little bit brutal, but for most of the show, it's not there. There is a little bit, like I said, there's a little bit of nudity, but it's played for comedy, and I think it's pretty funny.
Whoa, a naked lady! Wow.
No, the thing is, it's a naked dude.
Wait.
The dude hangs.
So why would a conservative audience like yours better, John? Like, why would they choose to watch Sugar?
Okay, so I got to say that a little disclaimer there. There might be some very, very light lib undertones on a couple of elements, though I'm not sure that you're supposed to totally sympathize with them, okay? Especially first season. Second season, there's different ways you can interpret it. But I do think the core character is good and honest, and he's actually extremely tough. He's fearless. He's a kind of masculine character that I'm dying for most of the time. There's also some very fascinating, there's a fascinating kind of romantic relationship, but kind of not, that's intriguing. And it's actually wholesome and good. And you appreciate how it develops and you appreciate the tensions that it creates. So I think it's something different. I really like this idea of, man, Hollywood, the ideal of Hollywood could have been great. Here's the reality of Hollywood. I really like that sort of self-awareness in it. And I think that's something that's going to resonate with conservative audiences. There's also just, again, like style, the look of the whole thing. Watch a trailer for it, or like even the opening credits, all that stuff. It has a vision. And the vision there's a continuity in the vision that's through the whole thing. Brilliantly done. I really appreciate when that happens.
I think your analysis was brilliantly done without giving away any spoilers. I know the entire series is basically like a mystery. So
yeah,
and I still don't know what's going to happen. So I can't wait to actually see it.
Yeah, there's lots of twists and turns too. Lots.
Yeah, I do want to. So for mine, obviously, I explain why it's not woke, it's not slop, which those are two things that I care about a lot. But also just the critic reviews on this from Rotten Tomatoes. The season 1 has 99%. Yeah. Season 2 has 100%. The critics have a 92%, or the viewers are 92 for both season. On BBC, after the first season, it was such a success. Just doing what we had all known was great. They just continued it. They greenlit it for 4 seasons after the first, and it's the number 1 on Disney Plus right now. And so like that was awesome. Another thing that always kind of stands out to me when I watch a series, because it's hard to take in the entire series, but usually there's like an episode that stands out. And so I was watching this for the first time a few months ago, and I actually finished episode 5, and I remember sitting there thinking, wow, that was really good. Like, what did this win an award? Like, what? And I Googled the name of it, and what came up was it's widely hailed as one of the greatest episodes in comic book television history. It serves as the emotional turning point. And the Remember It is the name of the episode. It's like a flawless rating on IMDb. So even like just things like that, where it's these moments that now become memed. Like my feed was starting to get filled with these moments from this episode, because it was such an iconic moment that happened in the X-Men series. So it wasn't even just I was so nice to see that I liked something, and then when I Googled it, they're like, yeah, you're right. You're on track. Like, it was pretty good.
Well,
so
mine is 92 and 98% audience and critic, respectively. So
y'all's are all really highly rated.
So I just checked it. Night of the Seven Kingdoms has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's important to note, please remember, audience, 6% of people are big communists.
Yeah, but tell them about the audience.
For some reason, the popcorn meter, the audience score is only at 79%.
So you're just a shill. You're a corporate shill hawking this show.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the checks.
That
to
is
clear.
the less sophisticated viewers who are hoping for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think that's
they were hoping for the gratuitous nudity. Yeah, they weren't ready for this psychological masterpiece.
I'm going to look up my numbers now, guys. I don't even think like this. It doesn't even matter to me because I'm an individual.
I think
yeah, Sugar's rated very, very high.
I'm an individual. I let John think for me.
So DW Chrissy, I know we want to know from the chat who's winning. We're running into Reagan actually has an All Access Live coming up right after this in like 4 minutes. But first, DW Chrissy, were there any questions that we missed from the audience that we should hit?
We've got one from Roomba that's less of a question, more of a comment. So he was joking that Behind the Wire could be said to be an ad for the Michael Knowles show. It looks like a movie night fight is turning into an ad for Morning Wire.
Oh, funny how that works. Yeah.
It just happens when we show up in front of cameras.
What's the news today?
Actually, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Actually, funny how this happened was you guys were guests on Behind the Wire, and we were just going off on some movie thing, and I remember thinking, John is so knowledgeable about this topic, and it was so fun, like, pinging back and forth about this show. And then Georgia came on, we're talking about something, and I had so much fun, I just tried to convince you guys to do it with me again. I was like, can we just talk about a movie or series again?
And now we're all just like, how do we keep this going? How do we keep this going?
Exactly.
For no money.
We fought over He-Man.
Yeah, we did. It was He-Man. It's exactly what it was. And all these shows are better than He-Man, I promise. Like, these all look really good.
They definitely are.
All right, DW Christie, what do we got? Anything, is it showing who won, or do we have the chat coming in?
Well, I was seeing earlier the chat was declaring themselves the winners.
Okay.
To give you an idea.
Were they pitching Pendragon?
Well, if they're still coming in, I think we do have a 1 minute. How long is this clip from Pendragon Cycle? Because this is all Pendragon Cycle. Obviously, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It is fantastic. A lot of you already have, but if you haven't, I do want to show a quick teaser, and then we'll close and see who won. so great. I love the
That is
Pendragon
great.
cycle. And so all these shows
It's
are
incredible. How did they do that? I mean, we saw it. We saw it behind the scenes, but it still amazes me.
Yeah, it was so many practical effects there. Like she really is there with the bull. They actually did have the dancers.
Yeah.
One of the guys does get hit. The scene where it's coming up when she gets hit is a real person, and they were able to just like swap faces and stuff. It's wild. So, all right, DW Chrissy. Oh, there it is. That was a real person. All right, DW Chrissy, who won? What we got?
Yeah, can I get a drum roll, please?
Come on, please, Nick. Please, Nick or me.
All right, it's very close, but it looks like it's a nerd victory for Ben Davies with the X-Men show.
All right. You get to win in your own show.
No way.
It is rigged. We know.
Man,
This is unbelievable.
This has been a build-up for this. We've known this.
I want to give a
It's gonna happen.
speech, but I'm just going to get too emotional because I spent so much
Hold
time
on,
thinking
we'll all-
about finally beating John.
We'll all get out of here, and then you
he
can give
really
a speech.
does.
I really was so excited about it. Okay, these are all great shows. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys for watching. Also, be sure to let Reagan know that I won in her All Access coming up immediately following this. Go tune in there. Also, ask her what her favorite TV series of 2026 is. I'd be really curious to see what it is. So, guys, thank you so much for watching another Movie Night Fight on Behind the Wire. Leave us a comment. Let us know. Did we get it right? Who won tonight's debate? What series or movie should we debate next? And we'll see you next time on Behind the Wire. Roll the credits.